Back to pass for the Swedes is Ty Owens, and he fires and it's picked off. Picked off. Josh Sears going to run it back for the touchdown. Thresher. Hello and welcome to the Thresher Football Show. I'm Dan Page alongside head football coach at Bethel College, Josh Lawson. The Threshers pick up their first victory of the 2025 season in the craziest fashion you could ever imagine, I guess, more than anything. It was a game at St. Mary where you guys were back and forth quite a bit for the game and come out on top, and the only score of the fourth quarter comes up big for you guys. But yes, there are a lot of good things that happen from the win, and it's great because you see so many guys feel relieved that their work has kind of paid off. Yes, there's more of the season to come, but once you get that one, you start to believe in yourself quite a bit more. Yeah,
I mean, the kids were happy after the game. You know, the good thing is the kids they've stuck together. They knew it was coming. Like I've been telling them for weeks. I don't know when it's going to happen, but when it happens, it'll start happening, guys. And they've believed in the messaging from day one, and they've worked hard and they earned it, you know. And they deserve to have that moment of relief, that moment of excitement. And it was really fun after the game, and they deserve that.
Yeah, certainly. Did you get a Gatorade bath or something?
Yeah, I got a little water bath when it was done. It's kind of a little funny story there. When we crossed into the red zone, I handed my phone to Coach Cook, and I said, "Hold my phone." And he said, "What for?" I said, "We're about to win this football game." And he didn't hear that part of it, but I had him hold my phone because I knew we had them wore down right there, and I'd already told our team, I said, hey, when we score this touchdown, we're going to go for two. That was a scary decision to make because right there, it's the right decision. We had their defense wore down. If we go to overtime, they get a chance to rest and all that stuff. But right there, we had just drove, I think, 95, 96 yards down the field, and their defense was wore out. So it was the right time to make that decision. We knew exactly what our two-point play was going to be in that situation, so it wasn't a hard call to make. But at the same time, it's a scary call because if you get it, you win. But if you don't get it, then your kids are sitting there second-guessing you about why didn't you give us a chance to win in overtime, this, that, and the other. But those are some of the decisions sometimes as a head coach you have to make and you have to live with.
Yeah, I think the length of Kai Norris kind of paid off there with his wingspan and everything, because that throw from Noah led him a little bit.
That's the ugliest throw to win a game in the history of football.
He'll probably agree with you if you ask him. Yeah. But, it was pretty exciting, a 38-37 victory for the Threshers. There are a couple situations where you guys could have had them outside of that. And, blocks, field goal, block PAT ran back for two, all those things. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you get the W, and that's what matters the most.
Yeah, It was kind of disappointing there. The thing that I tell my coaches and I tell my players is, hey, after a win, that's when you focus on the details. That's when you dig in harder. And, the disappointing thing there on the PAT is it wasn't blocked. It was just a bad snap, bad hold situation, and all we had to do was fall on it. And that's a three-point swing right there. If we kick the field goal or kick the extra point and make it, we go ahead by three points. Instead of falling on the ball and still being ahead by two, what we do is we try to pick it up. And, when you have freshmen, they make freshman mistakes instead of just falling on that ball. So it's a three-point swing. Instead of us being up by 2 or 3 points, we're tied up. And then on the field goal right there, I think that was just, nerves more than anything. But that, the disappointing thing right there is we work field goal every single day. And, that's something that we have to be automatic on. So we got to get better there. Throughout the game, we had opportunities. We had them on the ropes several times. The interception, you can't throw back against the grain right there. That's just basic football. And as soon as Houston did it, I pulled him over to the side and I said, "Hey, take the sack, go down, throw the ball out of bounds, but don't give them the opportunity, and then the fumble right there. Both of those plays happened at right around midfield to give St. Mary really good field position. When we start talking about all those mental errors that we made, there's 14 points or more that we could have had in that game to try to put that game away a little bit earlier. And that's what we have to do. We have to learn not to make those mental mistakes.
Yeah, certainly. That 2 points that they got from running that back, and then they get the ball back and score a touchdown, and then it puts you guys down 7 in that scenario. But it was a great ending to the football game. You guys scored first. That was important, going down and scoring. You guys had excellent field position to start drives. I was watching. I was like, man, we haven't had this good of ball position to start a drive all season long, and it seemed like it happened all day. But that's usually a good sign of special teams.
Yeah, we worked kickoff return a lot last week, and we changed some things up to try to give our guys a better chance to return the ball. And every week, kickoff return, punt return, all those things are going to change according to what your opponent's doing. And they had a good kicker, but there were some things that they were doing that made us think that we had a chance to get some returns, and so we did some things a little bit differently, and we did a good job of returning the ball. I think on kickoff return we averaged getting the ball around the 35, 40-yard line every time, so that was big for us.
Yeah, it certainly was. The first drive, you guys only took you 4 plays to go down and score in 60 yards and a touchdown, and that was huge for you guys. And then, yes, it just kept going back and forth, back and forth. You guys give up the deep ball the defensive possession, and knew they were a very good passing team. But very, very interesting. Down 28-21 at halftime. You scored the first 9 points of the second half before that PAT situation mishap. So you got, like you said, you guys came out strong, and really defensive fourth quarter. You guys, that was officially 94 yards, drove in like 6 minutes of game clock to win it. So that was huge. Yeah. I was completely blown away, just kind of glancing. I was at a work event, and I'm like, oh, my goodness, this is just absolutely nuts. But I looked at the stats after the game, and, there was a lot I was impressed with. Houston threw the ball really well. 24 completions for 188 yards, 3 touchdowns. You mentioned that interception, but we finally got to show people how good Trayvon Madison is. I mean, wow. if they forgot, because he's an all-conference caliber receiver.
Yeah, and our screen game was working really good last week. We worked on blocking a lot, and that's the big thing that our receivers have to understand is you have to be able to block in order to play receiver. And last week our guys did a really good job. I'll say Josiah Buller, he blocked his butt off all day. There was times he had his guy blocked 15, 20 yards down the field, which really helped our screen game a lot. And when you go back and look at it, a lot of those yards were in the screen game, getting the ball to Trayvon, getting the ball to Josiah and X and a bunch of different guys in the screen game. And so it really helped us a lot.
Yeah, he was a great teammate. He didn't have the yards or the touchdowns that he's had, but he was a great teammate blocking downfield. Receiver blocking is one of the most important things in that style of offense, especially when you're running the football and getting it out to the side there. But I mentioned Trayvon Madison. He doubled his amount of catches in one game for the season, 12 for 119 and 3 touchdowns, had 4 carries for 24 yards and a touchdown. So that was huge for you guys. But Josiah still had 4 catches for 20 yards in the game. The running game finally got going there. Noah ended up with 80 yards rushing. Torrey got 63. Good that he's back on 14 carries, things like that. But, it seemed like I was, really, really glad that the offense seemed to be moving really quickly. Yeah,
our zone read game really got going. And when you start doing that, it holds the 5 technique, a lot, and so that guy can't crush down on the running back, and so it really helped our zone game a lot by being able to hand the ball off and holding that 5 technique with the quarterback, and then whenever he would crush down, we were able to pull the ball with the quarterback, and so when Houston's in there, he gives us a different dynamic in the run game, and it really has helped our offense the last couple of weeks be able to move the ball.
Yeah, it's definitely made you guys multi-dimensional for sure. Kind of switching over to defense, you guys got some sacks on the day. That was important. Frank Driscoll looked like he had a monster day, 6 tackles, one of them a sack and a tackle for loss. He's another guy that's consistent for you on defense and things like that. 80 end up with 2.5 tackles for loss. That's huge for you. Josh Santos, Jarek Woodley each with 5 tackles. Jaquarius Butler, big game from him, 5 tackles and a sack. That was huge for your defense.
Yeah, one of those sacks was a weird deal. The quarterback kind of held the ball up and it fell out of his hand and he picked it up and we sacked him. But we were able to get a little bit of pressure on him. We in the back end, I think we could have did a better job in coverage, but at times we were doing a good enough job in coverage to be able to make him hold it for a little while. And we got him in 3rd and long a couple of times, and that helps. When you're in 3rd and long and you can pin your ears back, that really helps the D-line. And we were able to bring a little bit of pressure and help those guys out.
Yeah, a couple deep balls, and then the quarterback runs for a 54-yard touchdown. I was really surprised because he hasn't really been a runner this year.
Yeah, well, it's, we were in a situation where our defensive end is supposed to square and squeeze and hold the quarterback in the pocket, and he ends up bending and chasing. He had a 3 technique to his side, so I have no idea what he was thinking at that situation. But he ended up turning his shoulders and giving the quarterback the edge, and we're playing coverage right there, and we just don't have anybody to pull him up in that situation because we're expecting the defensive end to hold him in. So mental errors by our young guys. We really have to fix that in order for us to be the team that we want to be.
Yeah, that just kind of stood out to me a little bit from the defensive side of things. Despite some of the mishaps on special teams, Hector still got a 37-yard field goal, which was huge for him. It's big to have a field goal like that for confidence purposes in the game, especially. And obviously, it's been a thing here where we've had a new kicker each of the last 3 or 4 years here at Bethel. But Hector, as a freshman, just comes in there with a lot of poise. Yeah,
I mean, Hector has the ability to kick 50-yard field goals. He has a big leg, and and we got a really good long snapper in BP. And he gets the ball back there, and then. So our operation can be really good. When our operation is good, we can kick a lot of field goals, and that's the reason we work it every single day. Is those are points that we should be able to put on the board, and so we just have to be consistent with that when we get in the game. And one thing that is important for those guys to know is that the operation, just because it's in a game, doesn't change any different than it is in practice. As a matter of fact, we're probably one of the better field goal block teams, in the conference. And so when you're going against our defense every day and they're running their field goal block, and we're being able to keep our guys from blocking it, we should be able to keep anybody from blocking it.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, a big day for him as far as mentally getting a 37-yard field goal, and it's also nice just to be able to reward the offense after moving the ball even just a little bit, enough for a field goal. So it wasn't quite the 75-yard field goal that the Bucks kicked over the weekend, but oh my goodness! But it's still a pretty big deal for the Threshers as they win at 38-37 at St. Mary. And in Leavenworth, and it was nice to get that first afternoon game out of your way. And this week we're playing the last night game of the season, so it's coming around the corner there as the season progresses. But there was a lot of other good games over the weekend. Previously, McPherson won 70-28 against Ottawa. Sterling defeated Avila 29-17. Southwestern put up 80 against Bethany, 80-14, and a couple surprises, I will say. I did not expect Friends to win 53-0 against Evangel. I thought it was going to be a closer game like it's been in the years past. And I did not expect Tabor to win 28-19 against Kansas Wesleyan. That kind of surprised me. But those two games really stood out.
I agree. I thought Evangel and Friends was going to be a nail-biter. That's two really physical teams. But, Evangel had a big letdown the week before, and I think who knows what happened to them. But I think Evangel's a really good team that just had a bad week. And same thing with Kansas Wesleyan, which Tabor's a good football team. Tabor can beat anybody on any given day, and so that's one of those teams that, like, you come in 4-0 or whatever, and maybe you're not thinking they're as good as they actually are, and so you're not prepared. But I think Tabor's a really good football team, and and I think Kansas Wesleyan's a really good team. So that's not necessarily surprising, but it was telling, very telling.
Yeah, they played well against Southwestern earlier in the season as well. So, a tough one with Kansas Wesleyan, because you think about Tabor a little bit, because they're right around the corner after the bye week. The Threshers have to go to Hillsboro. So that's just around the corner. But all in all, a lot of high-scoring games in the conference this last weekend. This week, Bethel is going to play their Fall Fest football game against Sterling. All sorts of festivities this week, from parades to Taste of Newton this week, Thursday night. Fall Fest Saturday is one of my favorite traditions at Bethel College, just because so many people on campus. They estimate an extra 5,000 people on campus, and that hopefully they make their way to Thresher Stadium, right, and support the team. And it's going to be a pretty good game. Sterling coming in with their first win of the season. They played Bethany really close. They're getting better, and they're 1-4 on the year. So Sterling will be a good opponent, and I think it's going to be a pretty good contest here for the Fall Fest football game. So come out to support the Threshers. A 6:00 kick from Thresher Stadium this week. And if you can't make it, you can watch it on the KCAC network. I'll have the play-by-play for the game this week. So we're talking about the Sterling College Warriors a little bit. Their head coach, Reggie Langford, used to be the offensive coordinator here for a season, and their defensive coordinator was an All-American here, defensive back, and he was a pick-six machine. So I haven't seen that reciprocated into his defense quite yet, but I know him pretty well. But, it's Sterling, a team that, like I said, getting better and better. Their offense averaging about 20 points per game, but they seem really pass-heavy coming into this week. They're averaging about almost 300 yards passing per football game and just 40 on the ground. But a lot of passing football from them. Yeah,
I'm expecting them to throw the ball around the yard a lot this week. And we got to do a good job in coverage. We got to do a good job of mixing our coverages up, and we have to be sound in what we do, and make that quarterback make decisions that he doesn't want to make. I think they do a good job of getting the ball to different people at different times, and giving you different formations and different looks and different routes. And so we have to do a good job of working through all that. And then on the D-line, their offensive line, they have really tight splits. So our D-line is got to do a good job of getting pressure on the quarterback, keeping him contained, not letting him have time to get out of the pocket and let the play develop. We got to put some pressure on him and make him feel the pressure.
I think 2018 is the last time the Bethel football program lost to Sterling. So it's been ingrained in them for some time to get the better of the Warriors. Last year was a 14-0 game in the season opener, so a lot of defense that day. Torrey Curry had the game-winning touchdown there on the road at Sterling. Their quarterback for the Warriors is a guy that spent a year at Bethel. His name's Jaden Briscoe. He's passed for 805 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season. He's rushed for 3 touchdowns as well and 2 interceptions. He's kind of their leading runner as well. But they have him, and then they have a senior quarterback that's been there a while, Rockland Baptista. He's number 4. He's thrown for 4 touchdowns, but he can run it as well. And I have a lot of highlights from last season of Noah Miller going at him and bringing him down to the grass. But, they do have some weapons in the receiving game, like you mentioned, some veteran receivers. Ryan Stuckey, who's from Sedgwick, not too far from here, and Noah Kokar, he's from Hutchinson. Both of those guys, 22 catches on the season for 700 yards combined, 4 touchdowns. They have a lot of different guys. Armando Juarez, another key part of their receiving game, 21 catches for 240 and 2 touchdowns. So they're going to sling it. They'll probably throw it out of the backfield if need be. But I feel like you guys. Especially after being tested in the passing game against St. Mary and some other games leading into this one, you guys can get better and better against them.
Yeah, I mean, St. Mary had two receivers that I thought were just as fast as anybody that we've played so far. And, you know, we're going to see another team this week that can throw the ball. And so we have to do a really good job of staying in coverage and being where we're supposed to be. You know, I think their quarterback does a good job of finding the right guy at the right time. You know, and they do a good job in their protection. You know, so it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think it'll be telling early on to see what they do, whether they're going to throw the ball a lot, whether they're going to try to be 50-50. I think they're probably going to try to throw it a lot. I think they're starting to figure out that's who they are on offense, so we'll probably see a lot of that.
Yeah, their quarterback, 65 for 114 and 36 for 74 passing attempts and completions on the season. So a lot of that from their offense. It's kind of switching over to their defense a little bit, just a couple different things. Just 2 interceptions as a defense, 2 fumble recoveries on the season. Some of their leading tacklers, defensive back. And I use the numbers because I know you coaches, that's what you see on film the most. And, you can understand what I'm talking about a little bit more. But Derek Bean, number 9, he has 38 tackles and a sack on the season. Linebacker, number 27, Blake Montgomery, 36 tackles on the year. Ryan Morgan, another defensive back, 29 tackles. And then on their D-line, number 97, Nate Creaky, he has 26 tackles and 2 sacks on the year. They kind of changed some things. They promoted their defensive backs coach to defensive coordinator after their previous defensive coordinator left. But when you look at them defensively, what do you see from them that you guys can maximize on?
Well, they've done a lot of things this year. They've been in some 4-2-5 looking stuff. They've been in some 3-4 stuff. They were in a lot of 3-3 last week. And so it's. I think they're trying to find their identity of who and what they're going to be. But they give you a bunch of different looks, and so we have to do a good job of recognizing what they're going to be in and taking advantage of it when we get the opportunity. I've talked to Coach Brown a lot this week about things that we might be able to do no matter what they're in that can help us. And so, the big thing is we got to get out there and we have to control the ball early, just like we did last week. Get out there, give ourselves good field position, and control the ball and give ourselves some confidence early on in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you crack down and you take away the turnovers, and you guys maximize on those opportunities, and you're probably up a couple touchdowns in that scenario, and just in any game in general, when you don't turn the ball over, you're much more likely to win it. I mean, hands down. But it seems like if they continue with the tendencies they've had before with that defense, they like to sub a lot and bring in new guys, fresh guys onto the field, and also give them reps, things like that. It's I know Coach Cade Miller probably knows a little few things because it's similar to styles that he's either coached or played in, over the years. But it's going to be, they've given up some points on the season, but I really think they're playing better, as we've hit the halfway point of the season already.
Yeah, they're a good team, and like I said, I think early on is going to tell a lot about what we're going to be able to do and what they're going to be able to do. And so I think the beginning of the game, we have to be very disciplined in what we're doing, and we have to make them work for everything that they get.
Special teams I don't really know too much about. I mean, you kind of look at, what have they done as far as, what's on the stat sheet and things like that. I mean, they've, their kickers made 10 PATs on the year, but when you scout them exclusively from their special teams, what do you see?
Well, their punter does a really good job. He's a left-footed punter, so that's a little different than what you normally see, not only for punt return, but also for the punt returner, because that ball travels a little bit differently, and it's a weird thing to see. I mean, back in the day, Bill Belichick used to love having left-footed punters just because it was hard on the punt returner. So that's the first thing that we've talked about and tried to work on this week. And then on their field goal kicker, when they get a good snap and hold, he's a really good field goal kicker. So we got to do a good job of keeping them out of range. And then if they take an opportunity at it, we got to do a good job with our field goal team, our field goal block team, and make them work for those points. On their kickoff, they've done a lot of different things on their kickoff as far as where they place the ball and stuff like that. So we've tried to work on that this week as well. But they're like I said, when you're dealing with the left-footed punter, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a unique part of the special teams game, and I like, you've coached for a long time now. You've seen, teams that do that, what they do right, what they do wrong with those things. So, that's where that all pays off, by all means. So, again, it's the Threshers and the Sterling College Warriors this week from Thresher Stadium, Bethel at home. I think you guys only have, 2 more home games after that left on the season, because once you get into division play, it's only 5 games. And this is one of the years where we only get 2 division games at home and the rest on the road. So make sure you come out and support the team the best you can. And this week, again, a 6 o'clock kick, and then it's a bye week, and then at Tabor, which is the shortest road trip in the world for Bethel, over in Hillsboro. So a lot of football still going on here at Bethel College, and it's a great week for Fall Fest. I know you are very football-minded this week, but I hope you have a chance to enjoy it somewhat and just kind of get a little Bethel experience and things like that. But especially some of your players as well. It's good to, Taste of Newton is kind of a thing downtown where, everybody comes together, and whether it's Newton or Bethel or whoever, and so many times there's so much separation between that community and this community, and it's nice to kind of have that unified. So that's, again, coming up this week. Let's talk about some other things this week with football, some other conference games. A noon kick from Kansas City. Southwestern is at Avila this week. You guys are the only night kick this week. Everybody else either at noon or 1. At 1 o'clock, Tabor hosting St. Mary. Friends is at Ottawa at 1 o'clock. McPherson is at Bethany, and Kansas Wesleyan is at Evangel at 1 o'clock. So I think both of those teams will be wanting to seek redemption after coming off of losses. That's probably the game I would highlight the most, Kansas Wesleyan at Evangel this week, outside of our game, of course.
Yeah.
But, it's other than that, you never know what you're going to expect here going in. Last week before the bye week, everybody's going to, put a lot into it, and then have a chance to rest before the games that some people say matter more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird situation the way we do the conference, breaking it into divisions, and I understand why we do it because of the playoffs. But it kind of feels weird that you play more non-division games than you play division games. To me, the way I look at it is everything is a conference game, even if it is division or non-division, whatever it may be, and every game's important. And for a team like ours, when you're as young and as we are, every game has to be a game you go out and try to get better every single week.
Yeah, it certainly does. I was thinking about things from other teams' perspectives. The McPhersons and the Friends. There's a lot of pressure on them to win those games. I mean, yes, but they put a lot of weight into the non-conference games because it's just like any other game you want to prepare for. Doesn't matter if it's in conference or out of division, out of division. So that's the right mentality to have here this week. Speaking of Friends, they're number 6 in the country now, moving up in the NAIA polls. Southwestern at number 18 and McPherson at 24, and they're all in the same division. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes down here in the latter part of the schedule. And again, the Threshers and the Warriors this week at 6 o'clock, and then a bye week. We will not have a program next week, so you'll have to wait for the Tabor week for that, and give you a nice opportunity to take some time off. And I know some people might feel like they're all footballed out right now because it's been week after week. For me, I'm doing 2 games a week, and it's exhausting. Yeah. But I can't imagine, for you guys, I know you're going to practice the same way and things like that, but just going to be a week where it's weird you don't have a game.
Yeah, it's the bye week is always something that it's weird because you get into a routine. You're used to, you wake up at 6 o'clock every morning, you get to the office, and then you work from 6:30, 7 o'clock until 7 at night every day, and and then all of a sudden you have a bye week, and it's like Friday rolls around. What we're going to try to do is go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and give our guys Friday and Saturday to kind of rest their bodies a little bit. But it's a weird week because your body's so used to just go, and then all of a sudden it's like, what do I do? And and sometimes it's actually bad because your body's not used to resting, and then all of a sudden you get rest and you get brain fog because you're not used to it. So we're going to try to keep it as normal as we can, and then give the guys Friday and Saturday to kind of rest their bodies, then get back after it.
Yeah, it almost feels weird, like some sort of limbo. Yeah, that's the way it is for me when I'm burning through football season where I've got all these hands and different baskets and things like that. Once you get out of it, it's like you feel like you should be doing that still. Yeah, and just feeling like you should be more active than you really are. But yeah, that's always interesting. I kind of miss when the way that it was before, where it's a round robin and you got a chance to play a non-conference game to start things out. That way, if you lose that game, it doesn't hurt you in conference play or anything like that. But that is 2 years ago at least. So on the season. But yeah, a couple things. We're going to end our show this week with a little lighter tone things. I hear you got a year older this week, but what a great time to get your first win as a college football coach as well. Is that the best birthday present you could have?
Oh, no doubt. Everybody's been asking me all week, was it exciting? Were you happy, all this? And I was like, it was just relief is what it was. It was relief, and to be honest with you, I didn't know it was my birthday today until we finished our staff meeting, and one of the guys said, "Happy birthday, Coach," and I didn't know who they were talking to, and all of a sudden I realized, oh crap, it's my birthday. That's how far removed from even thinking about those kind of things that I am at sometimes. And that's kind of the hard thing about football season, is you just completely get so engulfed in it that you forget about anything else, which thank goodness I got a good wife, because she I got up this morning, got ready and left, and I came home for like 2 minutes to grab something this afternoon, and she was like, "Happy birthday, you left before I could tell you." And I was like, "Yeah, sorry." But I didn't know it was my birthday until somebody told me during our staff meeting today. Yeah,
it's kind of weird because, I'm sure you were like me, because I have a fall birthday as well. You love it because it's your favorite time of year. It's football season. Sometimes when I was playing high school football, my birthday would be on a game day. And you get pretty amped for that as a player and all those things. But I can understand. In your position of all things, it's hard to enjoy that in this moment.
Yeah, it's and everybody was good about it today. Everybody told me happy birthday, and I was, that's great. That's great. And I got a lot of phone calls and text messages I got to return throughout the day. I've been working, and my mom and my dad called today, and I hadn't had a chance to call them back yet. So Mom, Dad, I'll call you back whenever I get finished here in a few minutes. No, it's been a good day, been a good week. The thing that I have to impress on our guys every day, though, is hey guys, Saturday's over. That's what I had to tell them on Sunday. It was hey, Saturday's over. It's time to get back to work, and you haven't accomplished what you're here to accomplish. And this week's a new week. And this is a new team, and we just have to put our heads down and go to work and get ready to play this Saturday.
Yeah, and it's how you win and how you react after a win as well. You're formulating some of those habits that will keep you being successul.
There's one thing before, I know we're going to end here in a few minutes, but there's one thing I got to say, and it was probably not – I'm not going to say any play was more important than the other, because they're all important, but one of the most impressive plays of the day was X, our receiver. He caught a ball, got hit out of bounds. The guy hit him late and slung him down and got a penalty. Well, in that situation, for a lot of teams, what happens is the guy that gets slung down, he gets up and he pushes the guy or tries to start a fight or whatever. X just threw the ball to the official, went back and got ready for the next play. So St. Mary ended up with a 15-yard penalty late in that drive that ended up putting us into the red zone. And if X doesn't do that, if he goes and gets an offsetting penalty right there, we probably don't win that game, because now we're sitting there and we're outside of the red zone, and we might not have enough time to get that touchdown. But instead, it stopped the clock. It gave us a chance to rest because the officials were talking about the penalty, and it gave us a 15 more yards. So I was really impressed, and that was one thing I impressed on the team yesterday when I talked to them. I was like, guys, there's a reason that we practice the way that we practice. There's a reason that we do the things that we do, and it's so in those situations we're not the team getting those 15 yards. And so, I talk about the mental errors that we make, but, when we do something that is just the opposite of a mental error, when we do something that we work on every day, and that's one thing, like you go out to our practices, we have a rule, no fighting on the yard. If you fight, you're out of here. And, because for two reasons. Number one, it's going to be a penalty in a game, and number two, it slows down my practice, and nothing slows down my practice. But I was really, really impressed with him by doing that, and I was really happy with him by doing that. And those are the things you can't have bonehead mistakes in a game, and especially in that situation. So I was really proud of him in that situation.
If anything, Coach, I think that's a compliment to some of the discipline that you've put into the team this year. I know that you're talking about, for the people that don't know who X is, it's Xavier Martin. He's a Newton alum and hometown kid and everything. But that was something that needed to be into the kind of DNA at times, because there were some times in the last couple of years, and I'm not picking on anybody at all. It's just these are things that will make you more successful and a better person. I mean, there's so many things out there in life where people are going to try to antagonize you and things like that, and it's how you respond that shows what kind of character you have. So
no doubt.
I definitely agree with, and I appreciate you looking at highlighting that, because that's huge for those guys, because sometimes guys can feel like they're not getting the opportunities or anything like that, but plays like that speak volumes, no doubt, in the game of football. So a couple things, I mentioned that. So just kind of some off the wall questions a little bit to end this week's show. Is there a book or a movie that left a lasting impression on you in your life? It could be a football movie. It could be like a book that you read or something like that. I remember I took a football coaching class, and they had the Football Coaching Bible is what it was called.
I would say Tombstone. Tombstone's my favorite movie ever, and Doc Holliday is just the way he goes about life, where, he was not scared of anything, and the way that Doc Holliday's, he's a character that if you ever do any research on him, he wasn't the greatest human being in the world, but the one thing that he believed in was his friendships and hhis family, and I've always loved that movie. Doc Holliday, Wyatt Earp, Tombstone's a great movie, and I've probably watched it 100 times, and I can watch it 100 more.
Yeah, that's always a good one. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, rest in peace, all those guys. It's a great one. I like westerns a lot. Things like that, 310 to Yuma, stuff like that. And I inherited that from my father. He reads all these spaghetti western books and all these things, but all the Louis L'Amour that you could ask for. I got him a collection of hardbacks for one year for his birthday. So all good things. Okay, last question, then we'll wrap things up. What superpower would you choose if you could have any one?
Oh, mind reading. No doubt. If I could look across the field and know what the offense or defense was wanting to do, that would be it 100%. Just knowing what's about to happen so I can counteract it. 100%. That's exactly what I'd want.
That might help you at home too, maybe.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No, I don't want to know what she's thinking, because she's thinking, how can I get him to spend some more money on something? So
yeah, I remember, I was always told, it's like, you should know this. I expect this of you. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't read your mind, kind of a thing.
Oh, I know. I'm about to go home and cook. I know what I'm about to do.
All right, no doubt. Yeah, mind reading. I always thought teleporting would be pretty cool. I like to travel, so that's just kind of ingrained in me. So, well, thanks everybody for watching this week, and happy birthday, Coach. I wish you another victory week for your birthday this week. No doubt that would be a great present, as the Threshers host the Sterling College Warriors this week. 6 o'clock kick from Thresher Stadium, and if you can't make it, watch it on the KCAC network. Well, that's going to do it for this week's program. Again, we will not have a show the week of the bye week. We're going to both take it off and get you ready the week after for the Tabor football game. But for Coach Josh Lawson, I'm Dan Page this week, telling you to roll on.